Chapter 1: The Surprising Power of Atomic Habits. The fate of British cycling changed one day in 2003. The organization, which were the governing body for professional cycling in Ryan, had recently hired Dave Brailsford as its new performance director. At the time, professional cyclists in Great Britain had endured nearly 100 years of mediocrity. Since 1908, British riders had won just a single gold medal at the Olympic Olympic Games, and they had fared even worse in cycling's biggest race, the Tour de France. In 110 years, no British cyclist had ever won the event. In fact, the performance of British riders had been so underwhelming that one of the top bike manufacturers in Europe refused to sell bikes to teams because they were afraid that it would hurt sales if other professionals saw the Brits using their gear. Brailsford had been hired to put British cycling on a new trajectory. What made him different from previous coaches were his relentless commitment to a strategy that he referred to as the aggregation of mattering gains, which was the philosophy of searching for a tiny margin of improvement in everything you do. Brailsford said the whole principle came from the idea that if you wrote down everything you could think of that goes into riding a bike, and then improve it by 1%, you will get a significant increase when you put them all together. Brailsford and his coaches began by making small adjustments you might expect from a professional cycling team. They redesigned the bikes to make them more comfortable and rubbed alcohol on the tires for better grip. They asked riders to wear electrically heated overshorts to maintain ideal muscle temperature while riding, and used biofeedback sensor to monitor how each athlete responds to particular workout. The team tests various habits in a wind tunnel and had their outdoor riders switch to indoor racing suits, which proved to be lighter and more aerodynamic. But they didn't stop there. Brailsford and his team continued to find 1% improvements into overlooked and unexpected areas. They tested different types of massage drills to see which one led to the fastest muscle recovery. They hired a surgeon to teach each rider the best way to wash their hands to reduce the chances of catching a cold. They determined the type of pillow and mattress that led to the best night's sleep for each rider. They even painted the inside of their team truck white, which helped them spot little bits of dust that would normally slip by unnoticed, but could disgrace the performance of the finely turnbacks. As these hundreds of other small improvements accumulated, the result came faster than anyone could have imagined. Just 5 years after Brentford took over, the British cycling team dominated the road and track cycling events at the 2008 Olympic Games in Beijing, where they won an astounding 60% of the gold medals available. 4 years later, when the Olympic Games came to London, the Brits raised the bars and set 9 Olympic records and 7 world records. That the same year, Barry Bradley Wiggins became the first British cyclist to win the Tour de France. The next year, his teammate Chris Froome won the race, and he would go on to win again in 2015, 216 and 217, giving the British team 5 Tour de France victories in 6 years. During the 10-year span from 2007 to 2017, British cyclists won 778 World Championships and 66 Olympic or Paralympic gold medals and captured 5 Tour de France victories in what is widely regarded as the most successful run in cycling history. How does this happen? How does a team of previous ordinary athletes transform into world champions with tiny changes that, at first glance, would seem to make her modest different at best? Why do small improvements accumulate into such remarkable results, and how can you replicate this approach in your own life? Why small habits make a big difference? It's so easy to overestimate the importance of one defining moment and underestimate the value of making small improvements on a daily basis. Too often, we convince ourselves that massive success requires massive action, whether it's losing weight, building a business, writing a book, winning a championship, or accessing any other goal. We put pressure on ourselves to make some earth-shattering improvement that everyone will talk about. Meanwhile, improving by 1% isn't particularly notable. Sometimes it isn't even noticeable. But it can be far more meaningful, especially in the long run. The difference a tiny improvement can make over time is astounding. Here's how the math works out. If you can get 1% better each day for 1 year, you'll end up 37 times better by the time you're done. Conversely, if you get 1% worse each day for 1 year, you will decline nearly down to zero. What started as a small win or mirror setback accumulates into something much more. 1 better percent day, 1 worse day for 1 year, 0.99, 1% better every day for 1 year. Habits are the compound interest of self-improvement. The same way that money multiplies through compound interest, the effects of your habits multiply as you repeat them. They seem to make little difference on any given day, and yet the impact they deliver over the months and years can be immense. It's only when looking back to 5 or perhaps 10 years later that the value of good habits and cost of back ones becomes strikingly apparent. This can be a difficult concept to appreciate in daily life. We often dismiss small changes because they don't seem to matter very much in the moment. If you save a little money, you're still not a millionaire. If you go to the gym 3 days in a row, you're still out of shape. If you study Mandarin for an hour tonight, you will haven't learned the language. We made a few changes, but the results never seem to come quickly, and so we slide back into your previous routine. Unfortunately, the slow pace of transportation aspect make it easy to let a bad habit slide. If if you eat an unhealthy meal today, the scale doesn't move much. If you work late tonight and ignore your family, they will forgive you. If you procrastinate and put your projects off until tomorrow, there will usually be time to finish it later. A single decision is too easy to dismiss. But when you repeat 1% errors day after day by relocating poor decision, duplicating tiny mistake, and rationalizing little excuses. Our small choices compound into toxic result. It's accumulation of many mistakes, or 1% decide here and there, that eventually lead to a problem. The impact created by a change in your habits is similar to the effect of shifting the route of an airplane by just a few degrees. Imagine you are flying from Los Angeles to New York City. If a pilot leaving from SAH adjusts their heading just 3.5 degrees south, you will land in Washington, D.C. instead of New York. Such a small change is barely noticeable, and take off the nose of the airplane moves just a few feet. But when magnified across the entire United States, you end up hundreds of miles apart. Similarly, a slight change in your daily habits can guide your life to the every different destination. Making a choice that is 1% better or percent worse seems insignificant in the moment, but over the span of the moments that make up a lifetime, these choices determine the difference between who you are and who you could be. Success is the product of daily habits, not once in a lifetime transformations. That said, it doesn't matter how successful or unsuccessful you are right now. What matters is whether your habits are putting you on the path to success. You should be far more concerned with your current trajectory than with your current result. If you're a millionaire but you spend more than you earn each month, you're on the bad trajectory. If your spending habits don't change, it's not going to end well. Conversely, if you're broke but you save a little money, a little bit every month, then you're on the path toward financial freedom. Even if you're moving slower than you like, your outcomes are lasting measure of your habits. Your net worth is a lasting measure of your financial habits. Your weight is lasting measure of your eating habits. Your knowledge is lasting measure of your learning habits. Your clutter is lasting measure of your cleaning habits. You get what you repeat. Oh, good. I like this sentence. You get what you repeat. If you want to predict where you end up in life, all you have to do is follow the curve of tiny gains or tiny losses and see how your daily choices will compare 10 or 20 years down the line. Are you spending less than you each month? Are you making it into the gym each week? Are you reading books and learning something new each day? No, I'm not. Tiny battle lines, these are ones that will define your future self. Time magnifies the margin between success and failure. It will multiply whatever you feed it. Good habits make time your ally. Bad habits make time your enemy. Habits are a double-edged sword. Bad habits can cut you down just as easily as good habits can build you up, which is why understanding the detail is crucial. You need to know how habits work and how to design them to your linking, so you can avoid the dangerous half of blade. Your habits can combat for you or against you. Oh. Your habits can combat for your against you. Productive unbounce. Accumulation one extra task is small feat on any given day, but it counts for a lot over an entire career. The effect of automating an old task or mastering a new skill can be even greater. The more tasks you can handle without thinking, the more your brain is free to focus on other areas. Knowledge compounds. Learning one year idea won't make you genius, but a commitment to lifelong learning can be transformative. Furthermore, each book you read not only teaches you something new but also opens up different ways to thinking about old ideas. As Warren Buffett says, that's how knowledge works. It's built up like compound interest. Relationship compound. People reflect your behavior back to you. The more you help others, the more others want to help you. Being a little bit nicer in each interaction can result into the network of broad and strong connection over time. Negative compounding. Stress compounds. The frustration of traffic jam, the weight of parenting responsibility, the worry of making ends meet, the strain of slightly high blood pressure. By themselves, the common causes of stress are manageable, but when they persist for years, little stress compound into serious health issues. Negative thought compound. The more you think of yourself as worthless, stupid, early, or the more you can condition yourself to interrupt that life that way. You get trapped into thought loop, vòng lặp suy nghĩ. The same is true for how you think about others. When you fall into the habit seeing people as angry, unjust, out selfish, you see those kind of people anywhere. Outrage compound, riots, protests, and mass movement, and rarely the result of single event. Instead, a long series of microtransactions and daily aberrations slow multiply until one even takes a scale and outrace breaks like whining. What bread is really like? It means that you have uh, an ice cube sitting on the table in front of you. The room is cold and you can see that your breath is currently 25 degrees. Even so, slowly the room begins to heat up. 26 degrees, 27, 28. The ice cube is still sitting on the table in front of you. 29 degrees. 30, 31, still nothing has happened. Then 32 degrees, the ice begins to melt. A one degree shift simply to no different from the temperature increase before it has unlocked a huge change. Breakthrough moments are often the result of many previous actions, which build up the potential required to unleash a major change. These patterns show up everywhere. Cancer spends 80% of its life undetectable, then takes over the body in months. Bamboo can barely be seen for first 5 years at its build attentive roots system underground before exploding, nicely fit into the air within 6 weeks. Similarly, habits often appear to make no difference until you cross the critical threshold and unlock a new level of performance in the early and middle stages of any quest. There is often a valley of disappointment. You expect to make progress in linear fashion, and it's frustrating how effective changes can seem during the first day, weeks, and even months. It doesn't feel like you are going anywhere. It's hallmark of any compounding process. The most powerful outcomes are delayed. This is one of the core reasons why it is so hard to build habits that last. People make a few small changes, fail to see tangible results, and decide to stop to think, I've been running every day for a month, so why can't see any change in my body? Once this kind of thinking takes over, it's easy to let good habits fall by the wayside, but in order to make a meaningful difference, habits need to persist long enough to break through this what I call the blades of latent potential. If you yourself struggling to build a good habit or break a bad one, it's not because you have to lose your ability to improve. It's often because you have to not yet cross the plate of complaining about not achieving success despite working hard is like complaining about an ice cube not melting when you hate it from 25 to 31 degrees. Your work was not wasted, it's just being stored on. The action happens at 32 degrees. When you finally break through the play of potential, people will call it an overnight success. The outside will only sees the most dramatic event rather than on the preceding. But you know that it's the work you did long ago when it seemed that you weren't making any progress that makes the jump today possible. It's the human equivalent of geological pressure. To tectonic plates can drink against one another for millions of years. The tension slowly building on to the way. Then one day they rub each other once again in the same fashion they have for ages. But this time the tension is too great, and earthquake era change can take years before it happens all at once. Mastery requires patience. The San Antonio Spurs, one of the most successful teams in NBA history, have the quote from social reformer Tracy Hand in their locker room. When nothing seems to happen, I go and look at the school culture humming away at his rock perhaps the 100th time without as much as a crack throwing it. Yet at the 101st blow is split into, and I know it were not the last blow that did it, but on had gone before. Thanks for listening.